but we really weren't recognizing and supporting some of the difficulties that the students were having. So we invited them to convey their time in quarantine, conceptualize that, and submit artwork. The thought that our arts program could have such a wide positive effect in the community was not anything we could have ever imagined. The submissions came rolling in. We partnered with the city of San Gabriel to allow us, once we've developed the pole banners, to hang them in the Historic Mission District. And the families were out and about. They were out and about viewing the artwork. It was a beautiful way for our community to come together.
We love the San Gabriel Valley. There are some amazing people and businesses here, and we think they deserve the spotlight. Welcome to the SGV Master Key Podcast. We'll have on the people that make the SGV great. We'll find out what makes them tick, their ups and downs, their history, and we're going to have fun doing it. This is the SGV Master Key Podcast. And now your hosts, Scott Warmoth and Russell Mano.
All right, welcome back, SGVers. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the SGV Master Key Podcast. We're glad you're here, and we're really excited to bring you another episode and guests here, two of them today. The podcast has sort of taken its own journey and developed, just through our own understanding and experiences with the guests, and it's been quite a journey. We're at like 90 episodes now from when we started, and one of the things that was an idea of yours was to promote and help some nonprofits within the San Gabriel Valley community, because I believe you had learned that they had really taken a hit during the pandemic. Was that the genesis of that idea?
Yeah, and of course, Sandy Roscoe, who is the executive director of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce, was a perfect person to go to with this idea because she is so committed to the community and so committed to nonprofits. That's just her life and that's her passion. So we met and talked about celebrating those that have this commitment to the community, and Sandy identified 3 nonprofits that she especially wanted to feature. And we're going to be featuring at a event on March 23rd at the San Gabriel Hilton, what we call Commitment to Community. And we'll be celebrating nonprofits and a couple of other people who just have this wonderful commitment to community.
And that's, I believe, a Thursday, March 23rd, San Gabriel Hilton, like you said. And that's actually going to be sort of brought together from one of our previous guests, Donnie, who is going to do the event production. That's
right. She's, she likes to focus on the experience of events. And so Donnie will be putting together the facilities, designing and creating an experience that, people should be real happy with.
Sure. And Sandy is definitely the person to go to for, things going on and information in the San Gabriel Valley. Another one of those is the San Gabriel Valley Now. That's your source for city news, announcements, events, special savings, and everything SGV. Don't forget to check them out on Instagram, sgv.now, and read their new SGV Now magazine on their website, sgv.now. Well, I'm excited for that event. We have, I think, the other 2 nonprofits coming in this week to have their show, but we have one of them with us today. Our guests are affiliated with the San Gabriel Educational Foundation. One is Adela Angiuli. She is the executive director of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation, and Paul Kuo, who is the president of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So that was a mouthful. I was trying to get all that out, and you're right. I don't think I have had trouble with that.
Yeah. Russell is a very smooth speaker, and perfect for this position as co-host, but you tripped him up a bit with your name.
Well, I think that people's names are important, and it's really important to try and say and pronounce it and get it right. That's something that I think. And as a person with a challenging name myself, whenever someone has heard my name or said it and dismisses it as unimportant to really try to pronounce it right, there's not a good feeling there. And that's the reason why I had that trouble. I just wanted to say it right. So the show is the San Gabriel Valley Master Key podcast. What is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
I was born and raised in Los Angeles and grew up in Alhambra, which is a bordering community here on San Gabriel streets. And I raised my family here in San Gabriel, fortunate enough to do so. So I still live and work in the community.
Okay. And Paul?
I grew up here. I moved here when I was 8, and I went to school in San Gabriel. And I still live in San Gabriel. I went to school at USC, and so I pretty much lived here my entire life. And and now I have a business also, and I'm in Temple City, and I'm also the president of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation,
Yes.
hence the connection.
So Adela, you would be fully a full-time staff person for the foundation?
Well, actually, it would be a wonderful thing to have a full-time staff, but I'm a part-time employee of the organization, and I do enjoy my position so much that, as we all know, in philanthropy and in the nonprofit world, I do work many more hours than a part-time position would entail. But yes, I'm a part-time position. We also have an additional part-time employee, and she comes in every so often to help with specific events and tasks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's technically part-time, but she works full-time.
Yeah, no, I bet, yeah.
So this is only the second show where we had people representing something like an organization. The first one was actually the Gamble House, and it's Jennifer Trotu was here. She's director of interpretations and collections with the Gamble House, and she was here to sort of speak on something that wasn't really herself. And so that's sort of your honor today is to share more about your foundation. So can you share, what is your foundation? What is it all about?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for having us here today. We're very honored to be here. So the San Gabriel Educational Foundation is a nonprofit charitable organization here in the community, and we exist to solely support the teachers in the community and the students in public schools here in San Gabriel. So which we have 8 public schools in San Gabriel Unified School District. There are 5 elementary schools, grades TK through 5 now with the expansion. There's 1 middle school, grades 6 through 8, and then there's a continuation high school, grades 9 through 12, and a traditional high school, grades 9 through 12. So really the community serves approximately 4,600 students.
Wow. And what do you guys do in service of these schools?
Well, what we do is we raise funds and we engage the community in support of public education. We do that through events and through an annual fund campaign and varying other degrees of programming so that we can provide access to resources for all students in the community. Is
it challenging with the demographics of San Gabriel being mostly minority immigrant families?
When you say challenging, tell me what...
is the idea, because I think I remember the mayor of Monterey Park, Henry Lowe, saying that when he went out to the idea that the community of immigrants could generate, funds for their community was something foreign, but he introduced that idea. Was it foreign to them, or did they welcome it right away?
Well, I think that we're all very fortunate to live and work in such a beautiful community as San Gabriel. We know we're here in the San Gabriel Valley. We are a city rich in history and culture, and we serve a uniquely diverse group of students. And so our community is representative of a uniquely diverse group of students. Within our demographics specific to the students, we have approximately 38 to 40% of English language learners, which really means that they're English language proficient, limited, right? And about 50% are considered economically disadvantaged. So what we find is that we do have great need within the community, but we find that all parents, no matter what their demographic, we all want the best for our children. And so people really want to give of what they can, whether it's of their time or their talent. And in most cases, to help us sustain and to bring forward programming, we need resources. So we are under the guidance and leadership of Paul, who is fabulous, and I can't wait for you to learn a little bit more about him personally. We've been able to develop strategic plan that really mobilizes and works to mobilize community support from our businesses, from corporate sponsors and donors, and all in support of programming.
Yeah, so to add on to that, because I've only actually been the president of SEF since last July. So it's not like, there's SEF has been garnering community support since I think it was founded in 1986.
That's right.
And so it's been a very, even when I was actually here as a student, SEF was already in existence. And it's grown over the years. And I've been affiliated with SEF for a while now.
I'm sorry, just for the listener, I just now made SEF is the
SEF.
acronym for
Sorry.
San Gabriel Educational Foundation. Okay, sorry. Go
Yes, we refer to San Gabriel Educational Foundation as SEF. I've been affiliated with SEF as a donor because, having been a former student alumni of Gabrielino High School, I was actually the first graduating class of the high school. So it holds a very special place in my heart. And so since I became, a business owner and then started doing a lot more work here, and I was like, oh, okay, I can afford to give back. And so that's when Adela approached me. Well, Adela's work, found its way to me because they do a lot of the annual fundraisers and stuff. And so I gave back. And so to kind of answer your question, even though it's a community of minorities, myself included, I think there's a lot of still, like Adela said, there's a pride in the community. And when we have pride in our community and parents just want to make sure their children have the best or have as much as they could possibly give. So whether it's $1 or $100 or $1,000, collectively it adds up. And SEF has been doing a great job, and especially outreaching and getting business and corporate sponsors and donations into our school. So that is a part of Adela's tireless efforts.
Well, we understand that we have to find and identify opportunities that allow for participation to fully fund academics in excellence in academics. And so, as Paul had indicated, established in 1986, the foundation has donated over $1 million worth of funding and resources to serve the students of the district. And proudly, over $500,000 of that has been within the last 9 years alone. So you can see the impact, as Paul indicated, collectively, what we can do when we come together as a community. We are often asked, why should I support SEF? We have so many wonderful parent and community organizations that already do so much. Why should I support SEF? Well, it's very important to realize that all of our community organizations that do so much need to thrive for our community to thrive. And that's very, very important. It's very important to understand. And so that collectively, when we are able to contribute $20 towards an organization that has a vision, a strategic plan to support the students where the needs, to fill those gaps. $20, sometimes people say, what's that going to do? But when we realize what collectively we can do, then we see the difference that we can make in the lives of the kids.
What are some of the dedicated programs that you do contribute to?
Well, through the years, so what we do is right now, currently we're governed by a 9-member volunteer board of directors. And through the years, the board of directors, they raise their funds and then they allocate those funds. And we meet with our district administrators and our partners with the San Gabriel Unified District to really identify the needs in the community. There's varying degrees of needs, right? We have the student needs, the teacher needs, the classroom needs, the district needs. And so what they try and do is allocate the funding to provide services and resources to the highest number of students possible, serving all grades K through 12 each and every year. We have signature programs, to answer your question. And through the years, we support college counseling for our high school students. That includes fully funding the College Naviance program through the years. That is tied in and interwoven into the blueprint for the counseling programs at the high school. It provides students access to resources when they're, entering into the 9th grade so that they can really kind of set their trajectory through their high school years. We provide support for literacy in the arts. We provide support for after-school programming. When kids, they have some extra time and it's important for them to have access to high-quality after-school programs. We provide support for, oh my goodness, so many wonderful programs. Through the years, we have after-school library hours. So we keep the library open after school so that students have access to resources and a safe space to study. We provide ongoing support through when we speak about the arts, through the purchase of, say, school band uniforms, choir uniforms, musical instruments, the resources that the students have to stand with pride when they perform. We provide opportunities for youth participation in events that are designed to provide students with opportunity in the afternoons after the school bell rings, right? So we have facilitated and developed a summer academy program, which has since gone dark since March of 2020, but we hope to bring that back to the community, serving up to 600 students each and every summer, providing them a safe space to either study through enrichment program or to get ahead in the high school. There's just so many wonderful programs that we're affiliated with and that we've started. One of the programs that we're especially proud of is the ACE Mentor program at the high school. That's a national program that serves, again, in the afternoons. Students sign up for the program and they're enrolled in ACE stands for Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. And it introduces the students to mentors who come out and visit with the children each and every month. They go on site to build and learn about the different trades so that they'll either go into a trade or, achieve higher education aspirations. And so lots and lots. I can talk so much on all of the amazing and wonderful programs that we have. Visual and performing arts. We supply music and field trips. Just so many wonderful programs.
Well, it's clear that you're passionate about this. As a parent, it's really easy to see how these are really valuable for my children. I'm curious, what do you communicate to the businesses and corporations? What do you say to them that you say, this is valuable to you as a business owner in this community?
So I'll help answer that because, that was kind of like my initial point of contact with Adela. And one of the things that I really do love about Adela and the way she, has taken SEF, helped, guide SEF along the board of directors, and is that she isn't just about taking, from the community. She is about working with the community. So it's all about a mutual win. So if the businesses thrive, then that means there's more funding and resources for SEF, the supporters that are supporting SEF. If they thrive, then they're going to give back even more to SEF. And so that's kind of the main way that the businesses feel like, okay, they are not just, here you go, here's more money, you're just coming to me asking for more money all the time, but that she would actually actively go and promote these businesses, tell people about their support of SEF to help them reach out to even more, in the SEF network of people, raising more awareness for all the community, all the businesses like mine. When I think it was 2019, right before the pandemic, like she actually came to my school after I've donated for many years to SEF.
Many years.
She came to me and wanted to create a program of a performing arts program with SEF, and so she came to me to ask for a partnership program. And so SEF does a lot of partnership, and right now we have various partnerships with other local businesses that are sponsoring our event. We have a Read, Imagine, Design event this year, which is an arts and literacy event where students have to reimagine the book cover of a book that they read and then draw something and then submit it into a competition and win. They get a chance to have their artwork displayed, and the top 30 winners will have their artwork converted into a banner, and it's posted on in the Mission District in San Gabriel. And so in this event, we have a lot of corporate sponsors, and of course we do the traditional, put your logo onto our various promotional pamphlets and advertisements. But on top of that, we're partnering with various businesses like Paris Baguette in San Gabriel, who donated a lot of items to us or have made other various. I don't know how would you call those kinds of deals? Basically, gave us really great partnership deals in order to support our events. So that's kind of how we, at least the SEF has been, to me from a community business owner and standpoint, that SEF does care about the businesses that sponsor them. It's not here, I'm just coming to you to ask for money and then I'm going to forget about you, and until next year, I'll come back and ask you again. SEF really does, support the businesses that support us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We value and appreciate collaborative efforts. And I think it's very important, as Paul indicated, to understand that there's a mutual benefit when we have a thriving community. And one of the programs, I can't wait to talk about Read, Imagine, Design, but one of the programs that we started at the onset of the pandemic was a teacher recognition program. And we were able to mobilize grant resources in support of our teachers to recognize their efforts during the time of the pandemic. And that's been such a successful program that we've been able to continue that through today. We most recently held our teacher gift distribution events before the holiday. And what we do is we mobilize the resources through a grant-specific use, and we reach out to a community business to really ensure that we're strengthening our community conditions and resources from within, and we utilize those funds within that community. So, of course, we have a great partnership, and we get some really great deals. But like with Paris Baguette, what we did was we purchased 300 $10 gift cards. And so we were able to leverage that grant resource, and we'll be able to do it again in the spring, either with Paris Baguette or another business. But we want to make sure that we share information and we celebrate those relationships, and we build, again, a stronger community from within.
Adela, when you say the high school, are you referring to all the high schools in the San Gabriel district?
San Gabriel Unified School District, we have 2 high schools.
Oh, so San Gabriel and Gabrielino.
Gabrielino High School and Del Mar High School. San Gabriel High School is actually Alhambra Unified.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it used to be before my year. That's why I was the first graduating class of Gabrielino, is that before my year, all the students in San Gabriel would go to San Gabriel High School.
Right.
Yes.
But when they established Gabrielino, we stopped going over there, even though it's still technically called San Gabriel Unified. It's all Alhambra residents now.
Ah, okay. I remember when Gabrielino was being built.
Yeah.
I think Spikes was still here.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And for the listener, we're actually almost literally across the street from the high school that we're mentioning.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, Adela, how did you come to be involved with the nonprofit?
So philanthropy's been a part of my soul for as long as I can remember. And when I realized that I could actually engage in my own community where I lived and raised my children, that's when I decided to go beyond my volunteerism and go ahead and apply for a position when it was available. And so I've just thoroughly been blessed with the opportunity to serve the community, and it's been very rewarding for me.
I know you were really excited to talk about another program that you have, but we ask each guest to bring an item of significance with them, and I understand both of you have brought something. So what did you guys bring?
All right. I guess I'll start with mine. So these are artworks like I've talked about right here. These are the artworks that we talked about earlier from our Read, Imagine, Design. This is from actually last year. So because we can't release this year's yet. They're not out yet.
There's some, those are some, yes, for
this
this
year.
year.
Oh,
Yeah,
so this
some-
is this year. Okay, so these are
When
some of the interests.
when are you going to release it?
Oh, it's okay. All of the
okay.
artwork has
We
been
just
submitted.
can't announce the winners
We
yet.
won't announce
That's what
the
it
winners
is.
as of
Okay,
yet.
sorry.
Yeah.
This is from this year. Okay, so these are some of the artwork from this year's. Oh yeah, it is this year's logo. So this logo right here, the Read, Imagine, Design logo, because this program was started before I became president, and then I took over this year the events this year to continue the planning and the awards. So we have about 100-something students that submitted artwork since the beginning of this year. In the month of September, that's when we had our submission deadline. So the kids really got into the reading and the art creation, and being an artist myself. Well, a performing artist, I have there's a special place in my heart for the arts. So these are 2 of the artworks that the students have submitted. This one is a 3rd grader from McKinley Elementary, which is actually my elementary school. That's where I went, McKinley. And then this one is from, this is also McKinley. Yes. So this is from a 5th grader from the elementary school.
So what book is that?
This is Turtle Saves the Day.
Oh,
and then
okay.
this one, the Egg Makes Friends. Wow. So they reimagined the entire cover and recreated it using their own imagination.
Quite talented.
They are.
I could not, produce something like that.
Exactly. They
Wow.
are like this. These are just, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm like, I can't draw. I cannot draw.
Yeah.
The beauty of this program, as Paul had mentioned, is the vision and the concept came about during the pandemic when we had an annual charity event that we sponsored. It was called SEF-a-Palooza. And each year we came together as a community to raise funds in support of our mission. Well, that was held in the spring of each year. Effectively, that was shut down. We all remember what happened in March of 2020. And I was driving up and down one of the boulevards, Huntington Drive, local community here, and I saw some banners hanging, representative of something going on in the community. And I thought, wouldn't it be beautiful if we were to invite all of the students in the district to really, under a theme of convey your time in quarantine, to give them the opportunity. They were learning and studying behind the screen. So we already understood the impact that our teachers were having in the classroom, not only in their classrooms virtually, but in the homes of the students. But we really weren't recognizing and supporting some of the difficulties that the students were having. So we invited them to convey their time in quarantine, conceptualize that, and submit artwork. The thought that our arts program could have such a wide positive effect in the community was not anything we could have ever imagined. The submissions came rolling in. We partnered with the City of San Gabriel to allow us, once we've developed the pole banners, to hang them in the Historic Mission District. And the families were out and about. They were out and about viewing the artwork. It was a beautiful way for our community to come together. There was groups of individuals walking as a family. If you remember the pods, we kept hearing about family pods. So it was just a really beautiful time for our community to come together. We received so much positive feedback that we wanted to continue that. And we came out with the Read, Imagine, Design. And we hope that that will grow and it will sustain and it will be here for many moons long beyond Paul and I and the efforts of this dynamic working board of directors. But this year's event, Read, Imagine, Design, the artwork logo, we invited at the end of last year the high school students to submit their designs for the logo.
Oh, okay.
And a logo was chosen. So it's youth developed the logo. And we have so much more to share and so much more excitement to talk about Read, Imagine, Design. But we have a big celebratory event coming up on February 9th at the San Gabriel Hilton Hotel. So our incredible business partners there as well.
Yes. So, the idea of it is really to give children, the students of San Gabriel, the school district, opportunities to showcase their talent, their art. And we do plan to continue to develop this. One of the things we talked about was it used to be fun, all these educational foundation would throw on this giant gala, end of the year, a bunch of adults come in, eat an expensive dinner and donate money, but to us, I think the pandemic gave us an opportunity to kind of reimagine that ourselves too.
That's right.
And the concept that I think the board of SEF, it's not my idea. It's it was already here the year before I came, but the previous board president, Allison, and their board members created this wonderful event where it's a celebration of the work of the students. And so we want to continue to do that. And we're doing this fundraiser event where corporations and other business sponsors are supporting the events, donating to the events, and we're inviting guests to come. We also have those raffles and other things at the events too, but it's a free event where we will showcase the work of the students. And this year we're starting with the visual arts, but we do hope, in the future we'll expand to other elements where all kinds of students with all kinds of talents will have an opportunity to showcase their work to the community, and that this will be a big, giant community celebration for years to come. And I think, especially in the creative arts, it's so important for students to really grow in. One of my big belief is that we can't outsmart a computer, but we might be able to stay, or AI, but we might be able to stay ahead of AIs in the creative arts. So I think it's so important to really support the arts in education along with, the math and science and all the core academic subjects.
Yes, and to circle back around regarding business partnerships and the many benefits, we really focused on partnering with our community businesses. And so the development of the banners are held within the community special signs on San Gabriel Boulevard, another community business. We have this year's event. Treats and yummy, delicious goodies are going to be served with our partners from Paris Baguette, Bubble Republic in San Gabriel. So again, we're trying to make sure that we really work together with our community partners to support education. And it's just been wonderful. It's been wonderful to see it grow.
That must be really exciting for the kids too, to come to an event like that where they're seeing their stuff that they've created. And
That's Paul. Paul wanted to ensure that we are now transitioning. It was a drive-through event, a drive-through celebration event. And what we did last year that students didn't realize, but we turned all of their artwork into a deck of playing cards. They were at home with their families. We made sure that we celebrate each and every student. Of course, then we have the banner winners. Paul wanted to really envision what that would look like, not only this year in its first runabout in person, but in subsequent years. And we have student performers. We'll have the choirs from Jefferson Middle School and Gabrielino High School coming to perform. So it's an opportunity for them to have public performance. But we'll also celebrate all of our students. He's developed an exhibit, so an art exhibit, so the kids can walk through and see not only their art, but all of the pieces of art. And they'll be leaving with a special thank you for their participation. And more importantly, I think it's for them to be recognized by the community in a very special place. You know, it's a really special place, the San Gabriel Hilton Hotel, but we wanted to make sure it was not cost prohibitive. And so it is a free event. It's a free participation for our students, and it's a free event for them to attend. It's just really beautiful. We'll also be recognizing them at an upcoming city council meeting. So they'll be invited to a city council meeting. So there's so much growth and opportunity there.
wonderful. But you brought something too, didn't you? Okay, what did you bring with you? So I tried to listen, and I brought a few things. But you're one of those rule breakers.
No. They belong together.
Okay.
So they're just individual pieces. But today I brought my little reading buddy. And this is something special that brings me so much joy and fills my heart when I see it every day as I enter my office, combined with a few of the things I'm going to be sharing as well. What started in 2018 as a literacy initiative, the board of directors met and they really wanted to develop programming to support literacy campaigns. It has grown exponentially. We began our literacy initiatives with the development of author series, presentations through all the school sites. We would bring esteemed authors in to make assemblies for the students and then to celebrate with the book distribution. It was fabulous. It was going so strong. We expanded to develop writing workshops taught by some of the authors so students could participate in writing workshops. Then we began to develop events that would coincide with book distributions because we realized and recognized that you have to get books into the hands of students. You have to help build their home libraries and support recreational reading so that when they're at home and they have access to those books and literature, that will also inspire their families to engage in literature. And so one of the programs that we started just 2 years ago is a book distribution program for our youngest learners. It's the kindergarten students on all 5 campuses. And so each year, just before the holidays, we distribute resources to the students. We go around to the sites and distribute each kindergartner, almost 300 students in the community, receive a reading buddy. So after a live story time with our donor, it's the Kids Need to Read Foundation. It's a national organization based out of Arizona. We distribute, each student gets in line and chooses a reading buddy. And they're taught to take the reading buddy home and to, if they know how to read a story to them each and every day. They're taught to tell stories to their reading buddy and just to sit and visit with their reading buddy each and every day. They are also given a book, a hardcover book, and then a highlight packet. So that distribution is a $9,000 investment in our youngest learners. We are so fortunate to partner with the Kids Need to Read Foundation, and it's just a wonderfully special time in the community. It makes me smile because the kids, when we see them on campus, they recognize the donors when they come in. So if I'm on campus, they say, "Hi, Miss SEF, I'm reading to my buddy every day." And so to hear that and to really support that recreational reading at a very young age, there's no better reward. a piece of that is that, you know, this most recent distribution, some of the kids got together and made a book for me. You know, this is just one of the little books where they each, you know, kind of got in and made.
They identify you as Miss Seth?
Miss Seth.
Oh,
I
that's
am
cute.
Miss Seth. You know, going across the campuses, I am Miss Seth. But these are just some of the beautiful thank yous that we receive. And
Wow,
we get to realize firsthand the impact that we have. And too often we don't celebrate that, right? So I appreciate, again, your willingness to honor and highlight the organizations like the foundation. I always say that I'm so fortunate because I get to see firsthand the impact. And when I go to share all of this with my board, I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, and so I love when they're able to come too. But here's one from this most recent distribution. And we love our book and stuffed animals. And this little class put this beautiful book together for me. And I just thought it was great how individually, these are all from different sites, they all decided to put together books to say thank you. So these were just some of the few things that make me smile and just really show me how much.
Do you go to the campuses often yourself and interact or play a part in the classroom activities?
Well, usually if we're on campus, it's because we're facilitating an after-school program and or distributing some sort of resource. So we'll usually do that, or facilitating and sponsoring an assembly. You know, that's the times that we're on campus. You know, we also visit the campuses when we have the capacity to do so, when they're at back to school night or, you know, those types of events, so that we can, you know, visit with the families, introduce ourselves, and then give them an opportunity and welcome them to get involved.
And also, a lot of the other some of the board members are parents too.
That's right.
So they're part of other organizations like the schools, PTAs and other groups within the schools themselves. So they are already in the schools, you know, interacting with the other parents and bringing the information that we need to share to their schools and their other organizations. So we do partner up. SEF does partner up with a lot of the other organizations within the school districts as well, and work with them whenever it's the opportunity arises.
Oh, absolutely. We've even hosted book distribution events outside of the school campuses. So we've worked with the fire department, and we've hosted on their apparatus floor a book distribution. We had crafts and story time and treats, and it's just so fun. So if you ever know of anybody that would like to partner with us.
Well, a question I had was, you know, this is so much information to get out there, and what you guys do is not, you know, one dimensional. And I was wondering, how do you get that message out? Where is that opportunity to speak to the people in the community, the teachers, the people who just don't know? You know, do you guys have that regularly?
Absolutely. We have a marketing and communications chair on the board. So that is a position within the board itself. And there is also an assistant marketing and communications chair. Right now, the primary position is available. So if you know of anybody that would like to get involved. But what we do, we use various communication channels. So internally, we work closely with the district to help get information out about programs and opportunities for the kids. We work with the school site administrators primarily to get that information out, and then the parent organization leaders as well. So there's multiple layers of communication there. In addition, we have what we call the SEF at Work e-newsletter, and that's a bi-monthly newsletter which we send out to the community. People can sign up online on our website if they'd like to receive a copy of that. And then we work with the City of San Gabriel to get information out on their various community channels as well. So we place ads in the local Grapevine or San Gabriel magazine. So it's just for us to share that information. Like you said, it is a lot of information. We do not want to be an undercover organization. Mm-hmm. We want people to understand what we can do together. If we increase impact, we need to increase capacity first. And so we want to share our message.
I don't think we asked, how long have you, Adela, been executive director?
Just a little over a decade. So just a little over 10 years now.
Well, you've been there a long time.
I have. It's been
SEF is
fabulous.
very lucky, very, very lucky to have Adela there.
And you said that you had a background in philanthropy.
Volunteerism, yes.
Okay.
So I had been involved with different organizations, and I really, as we all know, for all of us that dedicate our time, it's very rewarding. So it's something that I really love.
I don't know if it comes through the audio that she's just beaming with this joy and this smile across her face, right? But like, if I'm going to give my time and energy to someone, and I want to know that it's going to the right people and it's going to be used well, right?
Right.
But you can just see that she has just this passion for what she's doing, and the reward that she brought.
Right.
I if I'm working with kids and I see their smile and they're beaming and they're excited, like, it's such a joy. It's such a joy. So I hope that the listeners and viewers can see that, that you really have a passion for what you're doing. I like to learn a little bit more about the other programs that you have, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Russell.
At Wormouth Law, they believe that just because you speak a foreign language, come from a different culture, or simply don't know how to navigate the legal system, that should not prevent you from compensation from injury or receiving benefits. Their multicultural staff have been helping SGVers like you for over 38 years. Visit law888.com or call them at 626-784-7017 and tell them you heard about them on this podcast.
All right, we're back from the break. Adela, before that, I was just sharing, what I was observing on your face and the passion that you have. And I want to give you opportunity to talk a little bit more about some other programs that you guys have. But first, we're going to go into this segment where we are going to read these questions from these cards like you. And so there are 2 questions on here, and you can find these, I believe, in any Target, and they're also on Instagram at Like You Cards. So, all right, here we go. You can either answer, what is your favorite holiday? Or if you could time travel, would you visit the past or the future? I think I already know what you're going to answer, Scott. So, and I think I know why. So
okay,
anyway.
We'll skip me then.
Okay, so choose one of those. What is your favorite holiday? Or if you can time travel, would it be to the past or the future?
I love the holidays. I love all of the holidays for varied reasons. I especially love the Thanksgiving holiday because I think that families can come together for an extended period of time without a lot of the pressures of some of the other holidays. And I think it's a beautiful time to gather at the table. And I love Thanksgiving holiday.
Okay.
So last year I started, I think it's last year, 2 years ago, I started cooking a lot more because of the pandemic. I've been at home cooking like crazy. And so I called my dad up and I wanted to get this recipe with this. Like, he makes this giant pot of, it's like this vegetarian Chinese thing, but like he does his own thing because it's not really vegetarian, because he throws pork ribs in there and then throws everything in there, but it's so good. So I finally wanted to try and make it, and like, so a year ago I actually called him up, and I was calling him up like for Chinese Lunar New Year. I'm so used to calling it Chinese New Year, but no, it's Lunar New Year because a lot of various Asian cultures celebrates it. So I called him up, and then I got the recipe, but it was just like, it was just toss everything in it's just like chop everything up and just keep throwing it in, add more sauce, add more things, and then there you go. And then there's this giant pot of like, vegetarian / pork ribs, and it's like, but it's the best thing ever, and it's, and then this year, like literally yesterday, I had my lunch with my parents for this year's Lunar New Year, and then we realized, wait, we didn't actually make it this year. Why didn't we make this year? Because we had hot pot this year instead, because I guess we just got caught up with too many things, and there was.
Did you get your red envelope?
No, I have to give them now.
Oh, you can't get one from your dad?
No, once you're married, you don't get it.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
yes.
my.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that technicality.
The technicality is, if you are not married, then you can still get red envelopes. It doesn't matter how old you are, but then sometimes, when you're too old, they're like, no, you're too old, I'm not giving it to you. But once you get married, you have to give them. So that's why do not travel if you're married to Asia, if you have lots of relatives. I'm like, I will never go to Asia on Lunar New Year because I'm not.
Well, aren't they all married though? So
yeah, but I have no kids. So I'm like, I don't have kids to take the red envelopes from my relatives, but I'm the one who has to give everything.
Wait, so does that mean that Lunar New Year is your favorite holiday? Is that your answer?
I would say it's one. I mean, I love all the holidays, and
Same.
I mean, but it is one of my favorites because it's just so. I think, at least here in the San Gabriel Valley, it's gotten so much more festive over the years. Like each year, you just see more and more Lunar New Year events, and I'm so glad, that it's officially a state holiday now too. So it's one of those.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, California declared it an official state holiday. So. And I think it's wonderful to kind of celebrate all of the Asian cultures, because I just hosted a lion dance and a Polynesian dance celebration at my own business last Friday to celebrate this, and I'm also seeing all of these new movies on like Netflix and all of these, and I've worked on some of these because I worked on Turning Red last year. So to see all of this Asian culture everywhere, I'm like, I'm just happy. I'm just so happy because I did not have this when I was a kid. So, yeah.
So my guess for Scott is that he doesn't like holidays.
I mean, he's right, but maybe for the wrong reasons. I mean, like Thanksgiving, yes, is definitely a great one, but yeah.
And then you would go in the past so that you could have information to make wagers on
No, actually, you're right. I would go to. Okay, you're right. I don't like holidays, but I mean, I do like them. But it's like I think every day is a holiday. To be honest, it's more like that. But I would go to the past, not so that I could prepare to make wagers, but I would go to. No, I would go to some significant historical event and try to take it all in. Yeah, definitely I would do that.
Mm. Yeah, I would do that too. I started to think about the things that for my life, and then I started to get afraid that I would be a different person,
Oh,
if you go back and change or learn something, then you're not who you are here. So anyway, so thanks for participating in that. That was fun. So share with us, if you will, something else from your nonprofit.
Well, first I have to thank you. Don't deserve all the credit for all of the wonderful work that the foundation does. It really, truly is the rock star volunteers. And so if we did not have these individuals that step up and volunteer their time in the community, there would be no foundation. And so, I do have to give a great big shout out to all of the SEF board members. And then, of course, all of the partners that support in other various ways. But thank you. Again, I get to realize firsthand the impact, and so it's quite a blessing. So our Read, Imagine, Design event is something, like Paul said, that we're so incredibly proud of. And again, that will happen on February 9th. But we also have other events that we're incredibly proud of, and those happen throughout the year. We're working together to develop a reading challenge for the high school. And we kind of catalog everything under the term reading challenge, because what we try and do is, end goal is to get the books into the hands of kids, right? But what we try and develop is some sort of activity or event that leads up to that. So whether it be turn in your design for a bookmark or reimagine a book cover, but just to get them involved and engaged. We are going to be working together to develop a program for the high school students, and they're going to be tasked with filming kind of think elevator speech, a video, to really promote their book. We did a book review at the middle school, and it was quite successful a couple years back, where the students were invited to read a book and then develop a book review to kind of sell their book to another student who may be interested in learning about that. And so now we're kind of taking it up a level. Thank you to Paul. He can talk a little bit about that, because of course he brought his skill set to our organization to expand on that.
Yeah, so the idea is, Adela brought, has this wonderful program already that to encourage the students to learn how to sell a book, how to, that also promotes literacy, because they have to read the book in order to sell it. But I feel like, on top of that, it is also an important skill set for any student to develop, to learn how to sell anything, to sell something. And I thought to myself, well, because my background is acting, film, performing arts, music and stuff. So I figured, you know what, let's take this up a notch. And I really do believe that the visual, the film, learning how to use the film medium, I mean, look at us here, right?
Here today.
Is so important for the future for every single student. And it's not just about getting into the performing arts. And I reiterate this all the time to all my my parents at my school, is that I think kids in the future really do need these kinds of skills to survive in any business, in any work that they do, whether it's opening a law firm or being a doctor or anything, like learning how to perform on camera, understanding how that camera works, because that's how you're going to reach your audience, reach your the people, the customers that you want to bring in, or even if it's just doing a job interview, it's all on Zoom these days. It's all online. You got to be comfortable and understand, like the fact that you need to put some light on your face when you turn on that camera. Like those are, even though it may seem like it's rudimentary, it's important. And I think it's important to give students an opportunity to explore this aspect of their work. And so I figured this would be a great chance to have the students work in this medium, is to create a video to promote a book, whether it is to just, and how they want to do it is up to them, and be as creative as they want, because there's a million ways you can make a promo for a book. I mean, just look at TikTok. And so we want the students to have that opportunity, and also to have a chance to be recognized for their job, for the work, because sometimes, just throwing a video on social media, might not get the attention or the feedback or the, reward that these students might need to feel encouraged to do that. So, we want to create an additional opportunity, and also to add to the layer of, for Seth and the programmings that we do, that they are multifaceted, that it's not, here's a book, read it, here's more book, read more books, but that I do believe when you give a student the end goal, something that they can see at the end and visualize, oh, well, if I read a book and I do all of this stuff, and then I can make this video, and then this video can also win this award here, but also I can use it for other things too. I can put it on my social media, share it with people, and all of those things work together. And that when they have an end goal, they're much more motivated. And that's what I love about Adela's vision, even with Read, Imagine, Design to begin with, was that there's more to reading. Because if this was available when I was a kid, I'd be reading a lot more. But it wasn't, because it was just, back then it was like, here's a book, read. And like all I heard in school was like, read more. But I'm like, I don't want to read, because you don't see an end goal. There's no reason to read aside from reading of,
Do you enjoy reading for leisure now?
I read a lot, mainly because I'm an actor. I read a lot of scripts. I read a lot of sides all the time. And I love reading history books. So like I've been reading, but everything that I read, it's almost always going to be for something. Like right now I'm doing a lot of research. So I'm reading a lot of books on like the San Gabriel Valley and Monterey Park. Because I wrote a pilot on based on the restaurant scenes here. So I'm reading like the history of Monterey Park and the San Gabriel Valley. I'm reading history, and that's what I love. And I love reading those kinds of things. But yeah, I'm a more motivated reader. I don't sit and just read a book because I feel like reading a book. I read to learn. Like that's how I get motivated. And everyone's different. And I recognize that everyone requires different kinds of motivation. And so that's why these multi-layered approach to improving literacy, I think it's so much more effective, because it will, on some level, it will hit the majority of the students rather than just, here's a book, read.
Well, you're very humble, because Paul has not stated that he's also an author.
Oh.
He also has a book that has come out, but that's another.
Yeah, I wrote a little children's book because I wrote a children's book on performing arts, and it's to teach little kids how to overcome their performance anxiety. So it's called Nervous Nellie's First Recital, and I wrote it because my two nieces, they were like, I think at that time they were 4 and 6, and they were very nervous about performing, even though they have an uncle that owns a performing arts school. Literally, my older niece, when she was 4 years old, she went to her first music recital, but she arrived early she arrived at the venue before anyone was even there. But she walked into that hall. It was at a church, so because we rented a sanctuary at a church to perform, she walked into the hall. And then she just started crying. Like, She wasn't even about to go on stage. She just walked in the hall and knew, like, I'm going to perform, and then started crying. And then so we're like, don't worry, you don't have to perform. It's okay. And so she didn't perform that time. But then, over time, the next recital, she got a little bit more acquainted with the environment. So she was able to go up and actually perform with the teacher. But I figured, you know what, I should create a book to kind of help students, overcome performance anxiety. So I wrote this story for my two nieces. And in fact, I actually, because my younger niece loves to draw. And so I went to her and asked her, can you draw me a little girl? So she drew me a little girl. And then I took that to an artist. Her name's Jeannie Joni, and she's the artist of my book. And then she drew the main character based on my nieces. So the main character is an Asian American girl, going to her first music recital, and she's freaking out, having performance anxiety. And so, and that's what I want to make sure, that students, kids, young kids do understand and that it's okay to be nervous. In fact, there's a reason why you're nervous, because that means you care about something, and so that's why you're anxious about it, and you're excited, and all of those emotions that you're experiencing is normal. And I've had a lot of kids read my book at my school, and they love it, and it's helped a lot of little ones overcome their, at least understand their performance anxiety.
I know that there's probably a lot more that you can go into, but we do have a time constraint here, so we're gonna move on to another segment of our show where we get to learn not so much about your organization, but a little bit about you two.
We call this the SGV3, and that refers to what you would consider 3 of your most memorable places or activities in the San Gabriel Valley. We like to, introduce sometimes new ideas or places to the listening audience, and sometimes we have repeats, and curious as to what you would identify as 3 of your most memorable places or activities. And I think Adela is going to do 2. And Paul will do 1, or
because I'm going to be back, so you can do all 3 if you have 3.
I know. Well, you could probably
bounce off
have
of each
100.
We do. We have so many beautiful spaces here in the community. One of my favorites is the Historic Mission District. I think it's beautiful. We had an opportunity as an organization, and I know this is supposed to be a personal piece here, but we had an opportunity as an organization, because that space is so special in our community, to host assemblies for our students in the schools. And so we invited students from all of the sites to come to a private performance that was being held. And when you realize that here we have that historic space in our community, and so many of our students had never been there, and we've had the privilege to really take our children there growing up. And so I really love that space. It brings back a lot of memories, and for me as a parent, but also too, we have the historic San Gabriel Mission and the history there, not only here in our community, but throughout the state of California. And so for me, that's a very special place.
I actually remember that the Mission District when I was in high school, my graduation year. I don't remember exactly what the event was, but it was one of those end of the year celebration, because there were so many. I couldn't remember exactly which one was there, but one of the end of the year event was there, and it was at I think it was actually in the sanctuary of the Mission, and me and another friend of mine, we actually did a performance there. Wow. We sang a song at the I think it was one of those graduation senior assembly that ended up there. So I love that space so much. Yeah.
Beautiful
and it
space.
Was actually just a week or 2 ago we discussed a guest also referred to that area, and we learned of something we didn't know before. There's a little park there that's a tiny little, what was it called?
With like a grapevine
Arbor Park.
Yeah, right.
And really beautiful facilities and a venue there that's open and available to the public. We're fortunate as a nonprofit to have access to that space. So we've hosted varying events there, community builders in that space there. One of the beautiful things for next year is that we're working with the city. They'd like to open up the foyer of the Mission Playhouse for us to display the art as
good.
an exhibit for the wider community.
Yeah.
So for a period of time. So we're in discussions with the city regarding that. So that's just a really beautiful space for me.
Right.
Of course, the restaurants, the food, every restaurant that we have here is delicious and offers us something yummy. I tend to run across the street to Pulciano's Deli and grab a sandwich at lunch because the district office is not too far from there, and it gets me out of the office. I take a beautiful short walk through there. So I love grabbing the sandwich there.
Pulciano's Deli?
That's right.
Where is that located?
Disclosure, they are relatives of mine.
Okay.
Full disclosure,
delicious.
but it is delicious. They are on mission. They are on mission just across the Mission Playhouse. And again, our building is on Junipero Serra Drive. And so I get out of the office, take a short walk, and grab a sandwich. I'm probably not their best customer because I'm not a paying customer, but it's yummy and delicious. It makes me smile. The parks, too. The parks. Vincent Lugo Park, our historic dinosaur park. So many beautiful memories of taking my kids there, and I love the restoration that's happening and the community coming together to do that. It's just a beautiful space, and it's education occurs inside and outside the classroom, and we have to support that. And so to have the kids outside playing at the parks, I love the parks.
Yeah, I love that Vincent Lugo Park. I mean, I grew up in that park right behind McKinley. We would I think there was a door or a gate from the back of McKinley that you can go directly into the park. That's where we used to kind of go when we were kids. And I remember when I was we had our senior picnic there when I was a senior in high school. And I actually won a prize. I was like, I won a boombox.
And you remember that.
I remember that.
You remember that. Those sprinkles.
That's the park where there's a farmer's market, is that right?
I don't know if they still have the farmer's market there, but yes, that's where they were having hosting the farmer's market.
And then a previous guest on our show said something about a dinosaur thing there, and I was like,
Yes.
I never knew that it was there.
Oh.
So the front park where you see, that's not where the dinosaur is. So you have to kind of go into the back. There's like a little driveway into the office buildings, but then to the left of that, that's where the little hidden dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's an actual historic park.
It is. And there's an organization, a nonprofit in our community called Friends of La Laguna. And so if you look them up online, you can learn a little bit about the history of the park and those dinosaur structures in particular. Beautiful cement dinosaurs, beautifully colored.
So Vincent Lugo is when you're traveling north on New Avenue from Valley, and it's like, I believe right over the river there, right? And you pass the river and it's on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Vincent Lugo. Awesome. So you're itching to say something. Go ahead.
No. I'm really shy. No, there's so many. Again, we are just fortunate to be living in this community. Paul has some wonderful recommendations. I think we have a few favorites that seem to be the same here.
Yeah, no, I mean, like those are definitely some amazing places. So, like I said, I'll save mine for the next one.
Okay. Well, Adela and Paul, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing, what it is that your nonprofit does for the community. I'm really, my eyes have really been opened to what you guys do, and it's really amazing that you guys not only are doing these things for the kids, the communities, but also the parents and the teachers here and the businesses in this community. So thank you so much for the work that you do as well. Yeah. If someone wants to get in touch with your organization, what's the best way to do that? Where can they find you?
Thank you. And thank you for having us again. We can be contacted by phone at 626-451-5465. We also have an online presence. We have a website, SEF48schools.org. That's SEF-FOR, the number 8schools.org. And that website is under construction, so we'll be launching a new website on February 9th. However, you can still access the current website. You can always reach out to us. We're located on Junipero Serra Drive in the San Gabriel Unified School District building at 408 Junipero Serra Drive. And shout out to us on Facebook. We have a social media presence, San Gabriel Educational Foundation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We're glad that you guys came on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, you can find the full back catalog of episodes on our website, sgvmasterkey.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought of this episode, these guests, and any other ideas for future episodes. And until next week, we'll see you then.
You've been listening to the SGV Master Key Podcast. Our passion is the small businesses and the people that make up the San Gabriel Valley, and it's our honor to have them on the show. We hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to like, rate, and review. The show is produced by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers of Kind Monster Productions. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on the SGV Master Key Podcast.
Master, no, kind of master.